My name is King Junior, an entrepreneur and influencer in Germany, and this is how I plan to win this year, 2026. Now, first of all, I always do this type of videos for myself privately every year, where I simply go down or go through all the things I'm gonna do for the year, and most of the time it's just me simply processing the last year, what went well, what I could do better, and simply seeing what didn't go well, what which I should definitely take out of my to-do list. Now, since I'm planning to actually help many people grow their businesses online for free, I thought I should simply do this like on this channel, which is my new channel in English, and simply lay down my way of winning the year. It's kind of like my plan on how I plan to win the year, which you could use as a checklist. You know, you want to find out about my company, link in the description. But just to know or verify for yourself, if I am who I say I am. And now, let's start with the basics of what really are the four pillars that I built my year on. I simply break down my year into these four main things. That is love, career or business, you know, relationships, and fitness. Now, fitness, of course, my health. If I'm not healthy, if I'm not having, you know, a strong body to wake up and do things, I won't be able to do shit. I just came back right now from running 6 kilometers, and it's freaking cold outside and freezing. It's good for my health. Do I love jogging? Not really, but it's something that is good for my health, so I just have to do it, right? And now, when it comes to relationships, I'm talking about simply, you know, family, friends, being social. Knowing how to be social is definitely something that is healthy for the human mind, and simply it's just good. It's simply not just about being comfortable around people and know how to talk and having good conversations. It's simply also very good for your mental health. Like, we are social beings, so always make sure that you have a relationship with some friends, your circle, and family. So don't neglect that. I've had some times where I was simply just working, 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 creating content and doing business, and rarely went home to my family to say hi or check on my siblings. So that's something that I've definitely worked on to be more present in my, family relationship life. And that's why this is so important, very important. And it also ties a bit to point number one, which is love, you know. So they kind of like, are in a similar category, but I put love different because it's a different topic. Now, I also talked about now career or business, right? We all are working on a career or on a business at a certain point of our life. It's something that, when you think about education and society, we are kind of like groomed from when we are small to go to school, to study something, to learn something, which fits into the career path. And now to me, it's gone from career to business, right? To me, career is just like, working maybe in a company or in an organization somewhere where you have an expertise. I've been through that. I've studied, been through that, and I am now 100% entrepreneur, working my business, which to me is now on a higher level because now you get to do so many things um, in your company, and you need to be good at so many things to make it work. When you are working in a corporate company or in a business, you must have to do one thing very good. You have to be an expert in one thing. But when you are running your own business, you have to either be good at many things or have a team that you kind of like delegate stuff to, which they are gonna help you do. So business is one thing that I always talk about with my inner circle, and it's something that it's deep close to my heart because it's my career. It is my yeah, it is what I do for a living, right? So I have my own business, and that's what I do for a living. I sell clothes, I sell shoes, I have my clothing brand, and I mean footwear and fashion brand. That's how I live. That's why I'm not gonna be selling you a course or something, just gonna let you know how I do things because it's gonna help you in your life. And I cannot believe that we are all one. So I'm helping you, I'm helping myself, I'm helping us. That's it. Right. Now when it comes to love, love is simply to me a relationship with a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, whatever you prefer, but simply it's that deep relationship which simply is to um, you know help you, or at least it's simply that part in life where you are building something that feeds into not only procreation but into a deeper bonding with someone else, with intention to build that relationship forever, till death, as they say, till death separates you or something. So that part is also something that is, I think, very important to all human beings. I don't know, I haven't seen any single human being that would say, I am not looking, or I'm not interested in having a partner for life. You know, some try, but I think every single human being wants to make that part work. So it's all those four things that I always try to balance. So I'm not just about career or just about fitness or just about relationships, just about love. I'm about managing all those four. So to me, having a successful year simply comes down to how good was I able to win on all these four pillars? How strong was I able to maintain those and improve upon? So if for instance I simply win the year on health and career and lose relationship and love, to me that wasn't a very successful year. If I simply, have love and relationships and do miserable on, um, career or business and fitness, to me, it wasn't also a very good year. So I always try to balance all those four. There have been times where I was simply focused on fitness and I was ripped, super fit, and yeah, I was only focused on working out every day, almost every day of the week. That was during high school. And I could do that because I was living at home, rent was paid, food was served by mom, so I could just focus on simply working out, looking good. That's it. But then later on, I realized, oh, now I have to study. I'm on my own, and I have to pay my rent and eat, and I kind of like stopped working out that much, and then was now all focused on like trying to study and pay rent and that stuff. And later on, I realized, oh, I'm single. Like, what's wrong with my love life? Then I realized, oh, let me also pay more attention to my love life. And then I worked on that. It's something that if you don't pay attention on it, you will always be asking yourself, why are women so complicated? In my case, uh, interested in women. So you're gonna be like, why are women so complicated? But just as everything in life, if you never pay attention and try to understand, study, and just learn about uh, about it, you can just expect yourself to just be natural, just like, oh, I'm just gonna understand what works. And no, relationship, I mean love, is a topic that needs to be studied by both, like you and your partner. Thankfully, after so many years of being single, it's worked out nicely for me now. And yeah, but it was also a conscious decision for me to like actually understand what works in a relationship. What do I need to do to make my partner happy? And also how to communicate better and other stuff. It doesn't just come natural. You have to like understand what will trigger your partner, what will make them happy, the things you should do, and also understand what you like, what you don't like. Very important to know how to communicate those because, hey, you can be happy in a relationship where your partner constantly does things that you don't like. So, being able to communicate that as well as soon as possible from the get go, because some of you guys are sometimes too scared to like simply be very honest from the beginning because you just want to be like, oh, I want to win this person. So I'm going to tolerate every BS that I see just because I don't want to be single anymore. That is already the start of a failed relationship. So being honest from the get go to me is definitely going to save you time and save your partner time, like literally. So that's something that I think is a topic that is worth also learning as a human because you can win on all the other aspects, but this aspect of love can make you or make your life miserable. Like I've had a time I was just my bed, when I started making some good money early on, thanks to my YouTube career in Germany. Like I said, I'm a YouTuber, also I'm an influencer and a business owner. So when I started, first of all, with my business career, and I was making some good money from entertaining in Germany with skits and comedy and films. And I was just my bed laying down and just being feel like, now I have enough cash monthly to not be, to not be in survival mode, I would say. And I just realized my love life is a mess. And I wasn't happy because of that. And also, once I got to make some business trips to Dubai and got to meet some very wealthy people, talking of people that have made like a fortune in their career, like having 50 millions in their bank account and beyond, or they are already in the millions, right? One thing stood out to me. They became experts at making money, career, business. They became experts at that. But they really lacked so much knowledge on how to build a good relationship. And they had already conditioned themselves to be so fixated and focused on making more and more and more money that they wouldn't even have the patience and the time that it takes to actually commit themselves to learning what it takes to having a good relationship. And they already thought that now I have the money, so automatically love should just fall on in line. And they were mostly surrounded by women that were simply there for the cash. And they were also themselves like not really willing to put in the work it takes to actually, build a really good relationship. So they end up being like a bit sad and miserable because they simply felt like now I'm just living my life with women around me that, are always here for the cash. But that's literally what you present yourself with, the guy with the cash. So you get the woman that is there for the cash, you know, and that is your identity that you've built. Just now being the guy that has the cash. That's it. You may be lucky and have a good one, but chances are you're gonna attract many people that just are there for the cash. And sometimes we're gonna say, but well, as a man, you just need to be the provider and provide and provide and provider, and that should be good. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. Like being a provider is good, but now we're in an age where women also can provide for themselves. Like it's not like they really need you that much. Like before you even met them, they were already living, right? So being a provider is good, but it's not enough. You need to have that emotional intelligence. Like, you need to understand certain things too. So, with that being said, let's move on that, because, like I said, all these pillars to me are very important. Now, how do we move now into winning on all those four? Before I even like dive deeper and get into routines and strategies and plans, make sure you subscribe. And now I'm gonna reveal to you a little conversation I had, just uh, I think last night or 2 days ago with ChatGPT, because sometimes I do talk with ChatGPT on topics that I know that it should have a good general knowledge on, so I was just talking. I just like to talk and test, ChatGPT sometimes. And now let's have a look at that conversation. Now here we are. You can see my screen. Let me make it big. So now I asked ChatGPT, what are some very important things that we humans don't really think about that impact our lives? Talking of the unknown unknowns, sometimes, we don't know that we don't know much, right? But how many times do we try to question ourselves on trying to close down on the gap of trying to figure out what we don't know that could be very important for ourselves, for our lives, So that's a question I asked ChatGPT, and it was like, love this question. It's exactly the kind of thing human sense exits. It said, love this question, and just skip that because, anyways, you get the point. 1. The compounding effect of tiny daily choices. Most people only notice big events, wins, failures, breakthroughs, but the real force shaping a life is the tiny, boring, repeated decisions that compound silently. 10 minutes of reading daily, a different mind in 5 years. 10 minutes of doom scrolling daily leads to a different mind in 5 years. Slight honesty versus tiny self-betrayals leads to a different identity in 5 years. We underestimate, let me zoom in for you. We underestimate slow forces because nothing dramatic happens today. But compound interest runs your habits, your relationships, your health, and even your personality. If humans saw future trajectories instead of present moments, they will treat small choices like sacred objects. The unknown, the biggest changes in your life don't come from big actions, they come from tiny actions repeated quietly over time in directions you don't realize you are working. That's 1. And that really is something that I already had learned through this book called, let me simply go back to my full screen with you guys, called, Atomic Habits, and it just says something like tiny changes, remarkable results, very nice book that actually is something that ChatGPT just kind of summed up quite nicely. Let me go back to the program, quite nicely in just few seconds, amazing. And 2, the body as a messenger, not a machine. Now, first of all, let's come back to this. So this is like talking of point number 1, the compounding effect of tiny daily choices comes down to simply routines, right? Routines. Because winning a year comes down to your routines. You have good routines, you're definitely gonna have an amazing year. And having that discipline simply leads to a compounding effect on so many levels. So having a discipline around fitness, around relationships, around your career or business, around your love life, will definitely give you an amazing life in total, leads to a happier life, I'd say. So that's why I think that was a very good intro into routines, because it comes down to having good routines in life. So, for instance, I know when I wake up, I need to make some videos. You know, I need to make sure that I uh, edit sometimes, or delegate some editing videos or some videos to my team to edit. I need to check out emails. I need to, you know, also sometimes create time for live streaming and streaming on TikTok, and simply to have this bonding with the community and with the products I sell, and simply having that routine that I have on a daily, and also my fitness life, and also my nutrition and all that well packaged into the day. I don't lack on any of those, and of course, very important, having on always making the time, and always having enough time for my love, for my girlfriend, right? And also talking to my mom when I can. Having that in a nice routine is something that helps me navigate all these different things or pillars of life in a good way. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. Like, it's simply, you gotta start somewhere. Now, let's move on to the body as a messenger. Point number two: the body as a messenger, not a machine. Most people treat the body like a vehicle they drive until it breaks, instead of a living feedback system constantly sending data about the mind, emotions, and environment. Chronic tension leads to unresolved stress loops. Fatigue leads to misaligned life pace or emotional weight. Random, random irritability leads to unmet psychological needs. Somatic pain leads to suppressed emotional processing. We think we are thinking beings who sometimes feel, but we are actually feeling beings who sometimes think. Your body notices imbalance long before your conscious mind does. If humans listen to their body the way they listen to notifications, burnout, anxiety, and identity crisis, style collapses would happen far less often. The unknown here is the body is not reacting randomly, it's constantly trying to speak to you in a language you were never taught to read. And that is profound. That is profound. Like, let me just simply zoom out to my full body again so you can see me fully. Like, it's so profound because we sometimes just literally use our body like machines, like simply just going all out and doing things non-stop, not even resting well, and simply pushing till it almost breaks, which is simply burnout, right? But we could also have routines like just having a 30 minutes walk in a day, like just walking outside. We could implement that in our routines. Just walking, just breathing in fresh air, just taking time to plan when to sleep daily and respect your sleeping schedule. That will do immense amount of um, let's say benefit. That will have an immense amount of benefits for your health, you know for your peace of mind. And no matter how stressed you are, having these little routines will help you distress. And anyways, if you are stressed because there's something that is not balanced in your life, you need your body to survive that period. And if your body is in the best shape possible, well, guess what? You're gonna deal with those issues a lot easier than if your body was in a bad shape, right? So mentally, you need to have some things that will calm you down. For instance, being stressed is something that you sign up for when you are working in a career or working on a business. You are actually a problem solver in a company, or a problem solver of your company. So you are actually dealing with stress daily. So without a system to distress, to calm down, you will pretty much destroy your body, burn out. And you don't need that, because hey, we are not just here to to just go to sprint the first kilometer of the marathon and simply fall in the bush or lay on the ground for the rest of the marathon. You never win a marathon just sprinting from the get-go. You need to have a pace that is reasonable and healthy for you to be able to run till the end of the marathon. So treat your body with more respect, more understanding, and if you're a smart human being, then it's a no-brainer for you to simply pay more attention to your body, right? Now, let's go back to the next point, which is also very interesting, and that is this one. Point number 3, the invisible influence of the environments you live in. Humans believe they make independent decisions, but most decisions are heavily shaped by the environments they place themselves in. Sit around ambitious people leads to you think bigger. Sit around cynical people leads to your dreams shrink. Live in clutter leads to your thoughts become noisy. Work in chaos leads to your nervous system stays alert. Spend time in nature leads to your cognitive load resets. Environment programs behavior more than willpower, and that is deep. That runs deep. The room you work in, the friends you talk to, the city you choose, even the music you loop, they are all silent architects of identity. The unknown, you don't rise to the level of your intentions. You sink or rise to the level of your environment. That's deep. So, if I had to compress all those three into one meta truth, that would be the most powerful forces in your life are the ones operating quietly in the background, habits, signals from the body, and the environments shaping your choices. Once you notice them, you stop living accidentally and start living intentionally. So that's something that, I think is definitely worth talking about because the environment shapes us a lot. Like, for instance, when I think about why I am so obsessed with business, well, I grew up in a poor country. My mom is a businesswoman. She's always been doing some things on her own to feed the family, right? And seeing that, it had an impact on me. In a country where people have to be very creative to survive, like a lot of people in Cameroon, where I come from, have parents that pretty much work on the farm, harvest, and sell on the market. They buy here, they sell there. Because only very few privileged people, I would say, get the chance to even work and have a steady job. So many have to survive doing, or simply, in the sense of the word, entrepreneurship, they have to do something to survive. Because the word itself, entrepreneurship, is, a French word, I think, entreprendre, So you do something. You do something. And so I grew up in an environment where I saw a lot of people in commerce. My grandma would be harvesting and selling, and so would her friends. My mom would be, selling, baking stuff and selling to make money, sewing clothes and selling, which even ties to me, even like becoming an entrepreneur in fashion and footwear. Well, it has some ties to my mom's job, to my mom's entrepreneurship. So that shaped me a lot. And a lot of things like my hustle also comes from where I came from, like where I come from, every kid is working. Like, people are going to be complaining in the West about child labor. Well, I am one of them. And I am proudly one of them. I've been a child that has been working from the day he could start walking without falling, pretty much. Like I started working from a very young age. But it wasn't something crazy because I saw many other kids work as well. Like they had to support their family as well, you know. Like from the get-go, you just understood to eat, you have to work. And I gladly helped when I could because I just felt like I deserved to eat, you know. When I'd go to the farm and carry potato on my head from one mountain to the next, pretty much, or I'd be on the farm helping soften the ground with a digger, or I'd be farming the farm with the hoe. A hoe is also a tool you use to farm. I knew that word, a hoe, to farm before I ever got to, like, you know, learn about the other word or the other meaning of a hoe in the other sense. But yeah, so that environment shaped me a lot. So my hustle is very much grounded in being influenced by me growing up in Cameroon till I was 13 years old. And that's also how when I'm working, I have a different mindset. I can tolerate a lot more. I can endure because I always compare my work on the PC, filming videos, anything, to like the work on the farm. And I'd rather edit and film videos and talk than being on the farm, literally. You know, to me, that is a lot more stressful. So I'm like, when I feel like I don't want to do this, I'm just like, just compare this opportunity you have right now. You could be working on the farm still to this day. So that simply resets my mindset. But with that being said, your environment shapes a lot. It shapes a lot. Uh, it shapes your identity a lot. Very important. Now, I even like went further, and it also spits some very interesting things somewhere down the line. I'm just gonna go through those very quick. And it was like, if you want, I can also give you a dark side list, things humans avoid looking at but should. Now, here I said yes, of course. So, one, on the dark side list of things humans avoid but should pay more attention to. You are always trading your life for something. Every day you exchange time, your only non refillable resource. Time, your only non refillable resource. Very important. That's why I actually like wearing a watch, this watch, because it simply always reminds me that, my time is running. Not because I actually like read the watch, just because it reminds me of my time is running. So my only non-refillable asset is being spent right now. And it may be a question, is what I'm working on right now or doing right now worth my time? So now let's go through the list. You are always trading your life for something: status, comfort, distraction, approval, security, or money. And that is so deep. That is so deep, and it's so true. Most people never ask, is what I'm trading my life for actually worth my life? Like, think about this. Sometimes I'm on the toilet, almost scrolling on a TikTok video, and I'm like, oh, hold up, hold on. Is what I'm trading my life for right now actually worth my life? I stop immediately. That's very important. So, the dangerous illusion is believing you are waiting to start living later. But you are not waiting. You are spending. Hidden truth. What you do casually now becomes what you regret consciously later. 2. Most beliefs aren't yours, they were installed. Values, opinions, fears, success definitions, even self image. Much of it comes from parents, culture, to school, trauma, peers, and media narratives. This is deep. This is something that's worth reading again and again, and it's so true. You may think you are being yourself while actually acting out a script written by others. Real growth begins the moment you ask, what in me is truly mine and what was programmed? Hidden truth. Many people defend their identity without realizing it was never consciously chosen. And this is so deep. Like, I am perfectly aware that when I'm doing business and I'm so hungry to make more income and whatnot, it just comes down from me growing up in poverty. Like, that that sensation I had of lacking or feeling endangered, kind of like, when I saw the power of money and being sick many times, just realizing that in Cameroon, when you don't pay the bills in the hospital, you're gonna die. And many times, money came in from my father and it saved me. I saw people die because they literally wouldn't even get medication because they didn't have the cash. So they send them home to pretty much go and die because of what? Money. And I still see the impact of money nowadays on society, in geopolitics, and even in the way the world works. Like, literally, Africa is pretty much being kept down for others to eat because it's a game of power and money. So, some way I know that, if I was born in a family with a lot of cash, I'm not really sure if I would actually care that much about business as I do nowadays. So, having this deep understanding that you are being shaped, you act different, you think different when you are in survival mode in life. You actually can free yourself sometimes and look at things differently when you have this deep sense of understanding. Like, it's freeing. You can see what impacted you to do what. And now you can also, like, start analyzing your thoughts a bit deeper. When something comes in your mind, before you react, you ask yourself, well, think about it a bit. You know, give it some more time. Give it some more time and think about whatever thought came into your mind and triggered something. And maybe you find out, oh, it just hit on a trauma, or it just a media narrative that you don't really, believe. Maybe it's something that, you know, doesn't really aligns with your values, and therefore you shouldn't simply react on those. So, and also having this opinion of like, I am this, I am a that. I can even take it down to like things like when you say I am a vegan, I am a meat eater, a carnivore, or what they say, or I am, um, I don't know, vegetarian or whatnot. You give yourself these labels and you give yourself certain rules to live by, but actually you're just human. Like, you could do whatever you want today, tomorrow. Like, you don't need to label yourself and clinch on a certain identity for life. You don't need to. So, but you can if you want. Or at least it's good that you understand before you simply give yourself this identity as if you couldn't be anything else but that. So, now, point number 3, avoided emotions don't disappear, they accumulate. Unprocessed feelings become addictions, burnout, cynicism, emotional numbness, self sabotage, random anger, unexplained fatigue. The mind hides pain to protect you, but the body keeps the receipts or the receipt. Whatever you avoid feeling returns later as a behavior you don't understand. Sorry. Hidden truth. Healing doesn't come from strength. It comes from finally allowing what you ran from. That's deep. That's deep. Now, with that being said, here are still some things I feel like was worth mentioning. Thoughts aren't the thinker, emotions aren't the self. Identity is fluid, not fixed. Identity is fluid, not fixed. So don't be ashamed to change your opinion tomorrow on something. Yesterday I thought like this, now today I think like this. Don't be afraid or ashamed. And I know a lot of friends that were vegan for many years. Now they came back to just simply eating what they want, and vice versa. Also, this I felt like was worth mentioning. Life moves through cycles, not straight lines. And this is so important for career, and it's so important because sometimes we stress ourselves too much, way too much, but we shouldn't. If you understand this, nature moves in rhythms: inhale, exhale, day, night, bloom, decay. Humans suffer most when they believe life should be constant growth, constant productivity, constant certainty. But life is expansion and contraction, creation, dissolution. Seeing growth as cyclical instead of linear dissolves. Anxiety about failing behind. Anxiety about falling behind. Fear of stillness. Guilt during rest phases. Quiet truth. Winter is not failure. It is preparation for spring. That is very good. Now, let's move on to this one. Meaning is not found, it is generated. People search endlessly for a cosmic purpose to discover, but meaning is not uncovered. It is created through attention and devotion. Raising a child. Sometimes people be like, I don't know what my meaning is in life, but then all of a sudden they get pregnant, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, now I have a child. I have some deeper meaning. I have this new, let's say, I have this new passion, maybe passion, or let's simply say interest in seeing my child grow the best way possible. So all of a sudden they find a deeper meaning and purpose in that. So they just discover this new purpose and meaning by having a child. Or you're sitting down just thinking like, oh, what should I do in my life? And all of a sudden you see this problem in society and you find this business idea that you feel like, oh my God, I could do this. People need this. I see there's a lack in this department or in this section. I could solve this issue. And that idea gives you now a new meaning in life, and you feel like it's your purpose to now, make it succeed, for you to serve in that demand. And all of a sudden you found meaning in life. So I kind of agree with this. Meaning is found. Meaning is not found, it is generated. Serving others. Building something that lasts. Loving deeply. Pursuing truth. Creating art. Meaning appears where you commit your presence. So quiet truth. Life becomes meaningful not when you are life becomes meaningful not when you receive answers, but when you choose what to give yourself to. That's good. So if I compress all of this into one spiritual dark side synthesis, the things humans avoid feeling, questioning, or noticing are the very gates to wisdom. When you examine what you trade your life for, what shaped your identity, and what you refuse to feel, you stop living unconsciously. And begin living truthfully. Now, we can now zoom out on that, and I can go back to my full camera. So, if you were able to understand most of the things I talked about or shared with you so far, that means you have a lot of experience in life. And I would definitely on this channel dedicate myself to be talking to people that I feel like, have this level of understanding. So I will actually try to put a certain filter to my videos by saying for those above 30 or something. I think people will still click on the videos even if they are below 30, but just because I want to have a community that, of people that have this deep understanding in life. Because as I'm going to be sharing on this channel many things around business, where to buy what, sell for what price, and simply help people be able to build a business for themselves in commerce with various examples. I want to have a community of people that, can endure. Because when I watch all these videos online, mostly people my age, young people that are talking about how I made millions from this, how I did this. And it's always about these big numbers, quick success, quick money. And it always serves this dream of like, you can just build this quick. And it's always, feels like everything is so simple, right? You just need to do this, and in a second, you have a business that makes you $1 million in a month. Almost this dream selling that I see for the most part. I want to build a place where people come to build a real business with a real understanding that it will take time, it will take sacrifice, it will take simply a lot of discipline, and most businesses can work when you apply what needs to be applied and have the patience. Like I see every business as, as a tree or a plant, or let's say a tree, you just plant it in the ground, and they all have different growth phases and harvesting phases. Some trees could grow in 6 months, some in a year, some in 3 years, some in 5 years. So if you are growing a tree that, could grow or that grows in 5 years or in 3 years on a regular, and you are trying to harvest after 6 months, well, now you know the issue, right? You are trying to harvest on a tree that hasn't grown yet. So I will always make things very detailed and understandable, and therefore I need people that have that patience. So I'm going to try to actually have a filter around my channel to speak to mature people with a real understanding of how business works, and I will give you guys all the tools you need to make it work and give you guys the options. So just definitely subscribe on this channel because it's going to be so real. And why am I doing this? Because like I said, business is what I talk about every single day, and I have fun talking about business and breaking them down to the basics, because in the end it's always the basics. Like there's no magic pill. There are some lucky seasons that happen when you are playing the game of business, but in the end it's always about the basics and the basics, repeating the basics. Just like, most businesses have one very good product that they sell, and they can sell it every day, and therefore they should market it every day. You don't see McDonald's trying to reinvent the burger every single day. They just market the same burger like 1,000 times over everywhere. Or Apple selling the same product, like most of the time iPhone selling it everywhere they can. And most businesses that you see solve a single good problem and they market that every single day. So it gets very boring, but that's it. They work on the basics every single day. With that being said, we've talked about many things, many things. And I think if you've been watching many videos online about how to win the year, and you've probably seen many talking about just business, right? Just business, or just health, or just relationship. Now you know, and it makes sense. We need to win on all four pillars. This one was health, health, relationships with family, friends, you can call it networking somewhere. It's also in that career, business, and love life. We are gonna win on all this for this year. And it's a choice you need to make right now. It's a choice you need to make right now. I've had my friends ask me sometimes, well, bro, we're still young. Let's simply focus on just making money first. But they didn't have to fight every time for how do I stay focused, because they're gonna always be fighting to stay focused on the business side and career part, and health part. But their mind is also gonna be wondering about the relationship part because there is a lack there. And best believe when you don't simply treat all these four as kind of like very important pillars to work on every time, the one you ignore will come to bite you later. And you don't want to be beaten with regrets. That's for sure. Now, to close this off, I'm just going to say this. Make a plan that gives you the possibility to win on all these four. Make a plan. Make a plan. And starting with fitness, it's the easiest, right? 30 minutes workout daily, or 4 workouts or three to 4 workout sections in a week of 1 hour. You could walk, you could run, you could go to the gym, you could go play a game outside with your friends, whatever. The choice is yours. But make sure that you do this. I mean, you don't want to work your entire life to go spend the entire cash later in your life on paying medical bills, right? So this is non-negotiable. When it comes to relationships, block some time in the week to talk with your family, call some relatives, talk with some close friends. Block some time. So important. Sometimes send a DM to a friend you haven't talked to a long time ago, because most of the time it's just that you don't reach out. Reach out. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna be happy. Now, 3, career and business. Work on your career, on your business, and always try to find out what you can do better and focus on it. Try to find out what you don't know yet because you don't want to be the person that is lacking knowledge in your career or business, because lacking knowledge is what will make you lose a lot of money, or is what will make you be replaceable in your career, right? You're always in competition. I'm getting a call from my girlfriend right now. And last but not least, love. It fits love. Treat your relationship just, I'm gonna call her right now, just right after. But treat your relationship with much respect. Don't put it on the side. It's not a side mission. It's also very important. So, with that being said, guys, have an amazing 2026. Expect some very amazing videos on this channel. Take care, and sky's the limit. That is, by the way, my business. Link in the description. Take care. Peace.